Hi, happy Friday, everybody. I've been doing lots of things. I know those of you that are watching this on YouTube haven't seen me in a while there. And today I want to give an overview of how my vagus nerve decompression process has evolved and how it can be used well outside of the medical industry in business, in marketing, certainly in life coaching, in your personal world. And anyway, I want to kind of give an overview to tie some of those strings together, and I know it can be really confusing. It's a lot of material and a big topic, but I'm going to try and break it down into some very basic concepts for you. So my name is Melanie Weller. I am a physical therapist, and my clinical expertise is in treating the vagus nerve as a pinched nerve. And I've used this for years and years, particularly to help clients who have not gotten the results that they desired. Some of that was chronic pain patients, some of that was other patients with different issues, whether it was mostly orthopedic, knee pain, shoulder pain, something like that, but that they just hadn't resolved for a long, long time. And when you treat the vagus nerve as a pinched nerve, these chronic conditions often resolve very quickly, and it's just been such an incredible, it's my favorite thing to get people that have had pain for years and years better in one visit. And I've done it often enough that I believe it's possible every time, even when it doesn't always happen, but it happens often enough that I believe it's always possible, and go into every session with that intention. And and beyond that, there's often, once you get past that initial pain piece, there's often old patterns and other things to clean up as well. And when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, when you see that potential, you realize that there's so much more that you can accomplish. And that's just been so fun to see in my clients over the years. This also shows up in your personal life and in business in very specific ways. And the compression points in your life and your business match the vagus nerve compression points. So the business compression points are where your heroics, or actually let me back up. I'll start the vagus nerve compression points. I have other videos on my channel where I discuss this, but the vagus nerve goes from your brainstem all the way to your pelvis, and it mediates your inflammation, it mediates heart rate, it mediates digestion, it innervates your voice, it does, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of what it does. And when your vagus nerve functions well in your body, everything is better. And it most commonly gets compressed at the base of the skull, at the level of your vocal cords, across your collarbones here at your thoracic inlet. It gets compressed on the backside of your heart at the level of your fifth rib, gets compressed at the level of the diaphragm, and also at the level of the pelvic floor. And specific life issues will show up in these specific areas. If your heroics in your life are at odds with your desires, it impairs your vision and it shows up in your head. And that can extend a little bit into your neck, but it shows up largely in your head. You might get headaches, you might have carry all your stress at the base of your skull. For example, it might show up as ringing in the ears. When your adaptability is at odds with your emotions, it impairs your identity and shows up in your voice and your throat, and this can even be thyroid issues. When your leadership is at odds with your practicality, it impairs your nourishment and will show up more in your solar plexus kind of heart kind of area. It'll show up in midsection of your trunk. When your judgment is at odds with your creativity or your abundance, that impairs your purpose, and that will show up in your lower abdomen and pelvis. When your inspiration is at odds with your structure, that shows up in more like your pelvis and hip area. And when your transformation and your rootedness are at odds with each other, that shows up more in the lower body, knees, ankles. And so I have so much fun asking these very specific questions because it just always matches and it helps to tell the story. And you can take this, those of you that know me or followed me for a while, you can take this into mythology and astrology, and you can use that to tell the story as well. And as humans, we connect with story more than we do with process. This is why we love movies, and the science on the neuroscience of storytelling is amazing. And medicine really needs to be leveraging this. We all need to be leveraging it to connect with ourselves and to connect with each other. So for example, the ventricles in your brain that make cerebral spinal fluid look very much like the ram's horns that represent Aries, and in astrology, Aries rules the head. The way your hyoid bone in your throat sits on top of your larynx looks very much like the symbol for Taurus, and Taurus rules the throat. And your aortic arch is the same shape as the symbol for Leo, and Leo rules the heart. And so you can use the story to see how it's playing out in your life, because very often these stories are literally playing out in our lives. And I have turned it into a form of energy medicine where I'm training other healthcare and fitness professionals in how to use this. I've been training hypnotherapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, yoga instructors, social workers. And so they're all using it in some different ways, even body painting artists. I have a body painting artist in my current class right now. So it's really fun to help these other professionals see where all of this material can be useful, because it's so fun. And what I've learned over the years is that when you treat somebody's physical body, their story might change, but when you treat their story, the physical body always changes. And acute care medicine does this really well. They treat your story. Your heart stops, they restart your heart. Your leg is broken, they set your leg, you're casted. And so they have that, they're really directly treating your story. And so it can go more esoterically in the same way, talking in mythological and astrological terms as well. And it even works with like in a more geometric angular fashion, because for example, your vagus nerve exits the base of your skull 23.5 degrees from where the center of your spinal cord exits the base of your skull, and the Earth's at about a 23.5 degree tilt. And so when you aren't on your axis, it shows up in your head. And there are other critical angles through the body that mimic angles of the Earth's precessional cycle, and the distance between, particularly the distance between the pole stars, which is 47 degrees. And you can look at this in a very angular way as well to see what's keeping you from really having a strong electromagnetic field, I would say, from having a strong field, strong energy, and what's keeping you from being in sync with the bigger picture. Because scientifically, we know that when the electromagnetic field of the Earth gets disrupted by solar or space weather, it is measurable in our vagus nerves. And the extent to which it's measurable depends on the strength of your interpersonal connections. So that's a whole nother road that you can take this down. But for the compression points, and so you have vagus nerve compression points, you have these business compression points, which also work personally too, the heroics, being at odds with your desires, impairing vision. This works both in people and in big businesses. Going down that list, you've got the mythological compression points, and you've got these angular issues that the way that we are literally a fractal of the Earth. And so it's one of my challenges has been in communicating my message clearly, and because this has so many different levels of applications. So it's very easy for me to talk very practically about this, and it's very easy for me to talk really spiritually about this. And So I'm committing to myself to get more videos out to tell you more details about how all of this works and how you can use it more specifically. And so please follow me. If you want to check out my website, it's melanieweller.com. And please reach out if you have questions or if you're interested in scheduling a discovery call. Thank you so much.